Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
it's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So I want to begin our conversation with what we've all lived through for the last 3.5 years, which has been a global pandemic. And
Okay.
I wonder, how did you get through it and how did it change you?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. Well, I actually was furloughed the first day that they started locking down, Southern California, and was absolutely not prepared for it. So, I had $20 million of business in the hoppers, and I'm like, what? That doesn't make any sense. So, it took about 24 hours to get over the shock, and then I just kind of started realizing that I had some free time, and I wasn't going to waste it on what everybody else was talking about. Just the oh, poor me, poor us. And I just started doing a lot more hiking, mountain biking. I discovered a couple of extra trails in my area here in the hills of Orange County, and really started looking at my life. I really took that seriously, that this was time given to me for some reason. I mean, I didn't really know what was going on in the world. There was some tragedies within our own family, but it had some great opportunities for me to really grow personally, and take a reflection on my life. So what happened was it was about 3 years ago now, this month, that I took a hike. So it was during that time of COVID. I took a hike in the local mountains here, and I just felt this moment where I was paused, almost like this invisible force just caused me to pause, and I like looked backwards behind me down the path, and I was just kind of seeing my whole life from one vantage point. And then I turned the other direction and saw, kind of the things in front of me. And what I realized is at 55 years old, a lot of my decisions were ahead of me. So that really moment changed a lot for me. It started introducing me to people that came across my path, and couple of them said, Traycee, you need to write a book. You have a lot to say on leadership and your point of view and success. And, long story short, I ended up writing a book in the last year, and it released about 3 weeks ago, and I'm already writing the second book. So for me, it was a huge silver lining. It gave me this whole new um, journey that I'm traveling on now.
And
Yeah.
I think that was kind of the theme of this whole pandemic, was the silver linings. You either
Hmm.
decided to grab onto it or not, because it did give everyone that pause and clarity.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, I just quit talking about it, you know, a long time before other people. And there's still people in my life that are still talking about it. And it's like, get over it, move on.
Yeah.
So for me, I processed my entire life as, get over it, move on, and got rid of some regret, some old stuff that was kind of there, and realized that, the paths that I maybe carried around for years thinking that was the wrong choice, or I made the wrong turn, or what have you, I realized all of that led me to this day. Not only the day 3 years ago when I did that particular hike, but to today,
Yeah.
and it's unfolding before me. So, yeah, I even have an idea for a children's book, because I also feel like we don't give kids enough opportunity to make choices and to understand that they're all, for our growth and our progress going forward. We try to manage their lives till they're 18 and then wonder why they make dumb mistakes, right? Because we don't let them make choices. They don't have to be these life-changing choices, but so that's been in my head a lot too. Since yeah, since writing that, and I feel like there's a lot more for me to talk about. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so you're clearly a writer, you're a leadership expert, you're a coach, but if you had to boil this down at a career day in front of a bunch of third graders and one of the kids asked you, what do you do for a living? How would you answer
Hmm.
them?
I would say that I see the value in every human being, and I help them see it in themselves.
So what did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream to grow up and become?
I wanted to be a dolphin trainer.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Did you ever do anything like that?
So yeah, kind of. Not exactly training dolphins, but I'm an advanced certified open water scuba diver. I have several additional certifications. I can dive nitrox. I've traveled around the world diving, which I plan to do, continue to do. Just was in the Philippines last year for 2 weeks. Been to Fiji and the Maldives, and got a trip coming up to Socorro Islands. And yeah, so there's always been that love of the ocean
Yeah.
for me. So yeah.
So let's go back to the beginnings of your life. Are you always have you been from Southern California? Is that where you're born and raised?
Yeah, born and raised in Southern California.
Okay.
Been here. hmm
No, no, go ahead.
No, just going to say I've been here my whole life. I'm one
Okay.
of those originals. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So how did you get to this point of getting like helping leaders and coaching people? I mean, you have to give a lot of yourself. How did that evolve into who you are today?
Yeah. So what I found through the process of writing the book actually was that I've always been this way. Um, I started actually in my leadership journey when I was literally 15 years old, and I actually wrote about this in the book. I had pretty much always, a student, excelled and ready for college, all of that, and that wasn't always the case down the road, but we'll talk about that later. But so I had only one or two classes my senior year, and on my way home one day walking, I found this little boutique and stopped in to just see what was in the window. And it turned out the owner was there, and she needed somebody to manage her shop in the afternoons. And not only that, but to buy products, to organize fashion shows in the local community, so on and so forth. And because I was too young for her to pay me, she paid me in clothing and that sort of thing. So it started earlier. And for some reason, this woman trusted me at that age, just the way I carried myself, how I communicated. And so, did go to school, didn't finish my degree. I ended up having my son, who I adore. And, I regret nothing. I realized again a couple of years ago that I was always that way. And because I was always kind of at the senior leadership, I managed large hotels, convention centers. I was always the general manager or a senior executive. And I just did my thing. I always cared about other people. And, I wanted to know about their families. I always felt like I had some great privilege that my parents had created for me. That was really middle class, but for me, I saw other people who didn't have the opportunities I had, and I thought, that never was really a thing for me. It was just about the human in front of me. And yeah, every time I needed to train my staff, I would actually create the training program and do it myself because I just cared for them. I cared for them and who they were. And I knew at the end of the day, Joe, that managing 180 to 600 people was pretty much the range of my teams, whether it was a hotel or a convention center. I could not do it without any of them. It wasn't about me as the GM. It was about the housekeepers. It was about the engineer. It was about the people who set up the meeting rooms. It was about people answering phones. It was all these incredible humans that had a unique talent of their own that contributed to the greater good of the whole. And I didn't realize I was doing things differently until I came across a couple of bosses that were not exactly great leaders. They wanted to mold me into their vision of what I needed to do and how I needed to do it. And so I didn't do well in those scenarios. And so on reflecting over the last few years, I realized that that was something that I could share with others, that we all have an inherent talents. And if we treat other people, respectfully and with value, I know it sounds kind of like all sweet and fluffy, but I always had tremendous success financially in those scenarios as well. Just treating people well,
Yeah.
letting them be great. Yeah.
That's a huge adage that the younger people should realize too. It does seem fluffy and simple, but it's the cornerstone. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so let me ask you this. Who's been a hero for you in your life?
I'm sorry.
Who's been a hero for you in your life?
My son.
Yeah.
Yeah, my son for sure. Super proud of him. He's going to be 35 coming up here. I know I don't look old enough to have a 35-year-old, but there was some really neat times that I was becoming too much of the executive female in the desk, like, in a suit, in a desk, driving, and just forgot about that stuff that I needed to appreciate, which is the time, to be outside and connect with myself. And he reminded me of that. He went mountain biking one day about 13 years ago with my brother, and he sent me a picture at sunset. And he was standing on top of a log with his arms upstretched and with the sun setting on him with his silhouette. And he said, "Mom, this is so awesome. You have to try it." And he came back and he was just like beaming, at ear to ear. So I think it was a few days later we went and I rented a mountain bike and we went riding, and I was the same way, just smiling ear to ear. So that's also a big part of my daily, weekly life is mountain biking. I've got 2 mountain bikes. But yeah, so my son just, I think, has always been my hero, but that's one time I remember that he really, picked me up and said, "Hey, Mom, don't forget about how important things in life are, and we've got to have fun.
Yeah,
We've got to enjoy our life and take good care of ourselves. It's not
yeah,
all about work." Yeah.
for sure. So if you could meet anybody alive on the planet right now and spend time with them, who would it be?
Hmm. That is a great question. Hmm.
I mean,
You know,
it could be somebody from your past. We could open the door up.
okay.
Yeah,
You know what? That's interesting because I thought of my grandmother who is not with us any longer, but she passed when I was 17, and I feel like the woman that I am today, I would love to have a conversation with her.
yeah,
She was a brilliant, kind, and caring human, and I'd like to have that adult conversation with her today
yeah,
and gain more of the insight that I know that she shared with me, but I wasn't ready for
yeah,
at 17. Yeah.
yeah. So you're obviously very highly driven. You've accomplished a lot in your life. What is the motivation for you every day to get up, to do the things that you want to do, accomplish what you want to get done, and ultimately to be you? What is that for you?
Yeah. I mean, fundamentally, it's joy. It's living in joy. It takes a long time to get there, to where you realize that that's really what it's about. Um, and if I can share that message with others and help lift others up, that's the key too. And then freedom, maybe that word comes to mind. Being able to continue to travel around the world, scuba dive, see other people and cultures, and spend some time with my grandbaby. I actually have a new grandbaby too, so that would certainly be my motivation.
So you obviously give good advice to people. What's the best advice that you've ever gotten?
Ah, I think the best advice I've ever gotten is to be myself, to be my authentic self. That Traycee, there's only one Traycee, and there's nobody else that could be you. So how you share your life, how you share compassion, how you share vision, is unique to you. And so that's something that I also share with others. And it's a really hard place to get to in this world where we've been trained from birth to fit in these certain compartments about where we're at politically, where we at culturally, who we marry, where we go to school, so on and so forth. It's real hard to be ourselves and to be authentic, so I'm grateful at this point in my life that I am able to embrace that fully. And so the best thing I can offer also others, not just people I know like my son and grandson and daughter-in-law, but people I coach, and they're every ages. I used to think that it would be more of a, to have this avatar coach that was, in their 40s, with 20, 10 or 15 years on each end. But it's turned out to be this 5-year generation of people that are kind human beings that want to be respected and cared for and loved, not love, the dirty word love that people have made it over the years, but the human love, just human kindness. So, yeah, it's worked out for me really well, Joe. Financially, in my career, it's been tremendous success just being nice to people, and maybe nice is not even the right word. Kindness is a lot more from the heart. But if we all were really truly ourselves, I think there'd be so much more of that
Yeah,
available.
I agree.
Yeah.
So what's been one of your best client success stories in the coaching realm?
Yeah. So I coached a young lady who was newly married and had a new baby and had this incredible pedigree, you know, college and athletics and certifications and degrees, all kinds of amazing stuff, um, and was feeling very unconfident about everything in her life. And we did some coaching and I've learned a lot of modalities through my training at UC Berkeley. There's a little bit of different pedagogy that they use as opposed to just a traditional coach. It's a little bit more heart and meaning. It's a little more reflecting to this other human being. It's a lot less advising or mentoring. It's more of, let me tell you what you're saying, because so often we don't even know what's in our own head. We need to talk to somebody confidentially. We don't know what we're saying. And so I've been trained through the UC Berkeley method, in addition to my 40 something years of leadership that I've always coached people, but now I really listen and find out, where this person really is and how to help them help themselves and see the value in themselves. That's huge for almost every human being today. And so I think in this scenario, she was able to see how valuable she was and how talented she was, and that being a mom did not restrict her from being a senior executive at a company. And it didn't, keep her from being a great wife when she was at home and, to excel and not look at any of the things that were really true blessings as something to hold her back. And so she is thriving, founding a new company, moving forward. It's just such a joy, and we stay in touch today. And those private coaching sessions that we spent together are still, really a part of my heart, because I get to see how she's giving so much back to others by just 5 hours of us spending time together. Yeah.
So professionally speaking, what are you the proudest of that you've done so far?
Professionally, I think write my book. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd write a book. It was sometime late last summer when the topic first came up. I think I was sharing the notes I took, because I actually took notes on my phone that day of the hike, which was December 2020. And like, that was a weird thing to do anyways, right? I don't know why I did it, but I did. And so I was sharing that with someone as part of a conversation. And they said, you should write a book. And then I suddenly met someone who was a publisher, and it just, like the universe kind of handled it. And so I started writing this book thinking, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing and who's going to read it. And I had to go through all of that, imposter stuff, which, I get tired of even saying it, but it's true. That's what happened to me. And got some encouragement, and then got the nudge to leave the corporate world, and just dove and finished writing it in record time. So I wrote the whole book in about 9 months. And, like I said, I'm writing another one, which it's crazy to think about, but I loved it. It's felt like I was given the book to share with others. It is
Yeah.
my life. It is my perspective, but yeah.
So this next question might be kind of a small morsel into the book, but everyone out there has a perception of you: family, friends, clients, colleagues, readers, but you ultimately run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Mm. I'm a very driven, kind, focused human. I am a woman, but I am not seen or focusing, I guess I would say, on the differences between that, oh, well, you're a man or you're a woman or you're this or you're that. It's just, we're all human beings. And yeah, that's who I am. Just a kind and caring human being that can contribute to this world in the time that I have here.
So Traycee, if anyone wants to pick up the book, learn more about you, hire you, anything about your world, where's the best place to go?
They can go to theleadershipcontradiction.com. And there's links there to buy the book, or you can buy it directly on Amazon or Barnes and Noble. But the book is called The Leadership Contradiction: Choosing a Path of Love and Kindness. If they want to get in touch with me, just email me at Traycee@buleadership.com. And of course, Traycee is Traycee, and BU is BEYOU. In other words, be yourself, be authentic. So Traycee@buleadership.com. Shoot me an email. We'll get on a call right away, and I'll tell you how I can help you. And we'll find some great solutions to moving forward.
Wonderful. Traycee, thank you for your story. Thank you for your time. Best of luck with everything.
Thank you, Joe. It was a pleasure to meet you. I look forward to following you and learning more about you as we progress too. Thank you so much.
Excellent.